think about sitting in Eugene, all of a sudden you have 5,000 rockets falling on you from Springfield. How would you feel?
Tonight, we're hearing from an Israeli man living in Eugene, scared for loved ones back home as the war between Israel and Hamas reaches its 6th day. The conflict has already claimed more than 2,600 lives across both sides as the Israeli military prepares for a possible ground invasion of Gaza. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Hayden Herrera in for Kendall and Brandon tonight. Juliette Smith spoke with him about the emotional toll this violence has taken.
This is not just a war. I mean, they came in, burned houses, beheaded children, raped women, murdered, brutally murdered people, okay? Entire families.
Eytan Turjeman and his family moved to Eugene from Israel in 2016. The emotional toll from the war has been catastrophic for both the Israelis and the Jewish diaspora, including Turjeman. Not since the Holocaust has this large a number of Jewish people been murdered. He says he can't imagine what the hostages being kept in Gaza are going through, but he knows all too well what the families are dealing with.
In '74, a group of terrorists infiltrated Israel and captured a school of children. My sister was among them, held them as hostage. It's called Ma'alot. The Israeli army tried to rescue the hostages, but unfortunately 22 of them died. My sister was 15 and a half. Here we see it again.
What was that like for your family?
And this is a life-changing event to each family whose child is being murdered, and especially brutally murdered, by terrorists.
And what's it like to watch that now?
I grew up with the memory of those 22 pictures of teenagers who were murdered, and now there are 1,200 pictures. And every family is shattered and broken.
Turjeman's family, like most Israeli families, have known death from a previous war or terror attack and are now forced to relive that nightmare. His nephew has just arrived back in Israel as a reservist in the IDF. He's one of 360,000 reservists who've been called back to fight.
My family is scared. We have to defend our home because they came to destroy us.
He also has a sister in northern Israel who is now facing rockets from Lebanese terror organization Hezbollah.
One of my relatives is still missing.
He's speaking about his nephew who was at the Nova Music Festival near the Gaza border, where over 260 young people were brutally murdered, hunted, raped, and a still undetermined number taken hostage. That massacre saw 4 times more casualties than the biggest mass shooting in the U.S. He spoke about the boy's hurting mother.
And she's broken. She doesn't know if he's in Gaza right now, tortured by terrorists, doesn't know what's going to happen. And of course, the terrorists in Gaza are threatening to execute hostages if Israel will keep attacking.
Turjeman says he worries for those in Gaza who don't support Hamas, but says Israel needs to do what's necessary to protect its people and get the hostages home safely.
I was a medic in the army. I put dozens of bodies in bags from both sides. With every body I put in a bag, I thought of the mother and father. Is there any ideology that's worth dying for or killing innocent people for?
Turjeman believes people should be making a clear distinction between supporting Palestinian civilians and supporting Hamas.
Hamas is not fighting for Palestinians. They just use them as human shields.
Them and the Israeli hostages who've been strategically placed across Gaza. The intergenerational trauma continues.
Behind every person dying, there's a whole circle of family or friends who also experience the pain. And they're gonna transfer this pain to the next generation. I don't think anybody wins in this war.
In Eugene, I'm Juliette Smith reporting.
Tomorrow, Hamas has called for a global day of jihad on Friday the 13th. The FBI is currently working with communities to make sure everyone stays safe. EPD tells us they are aware of the statements and will continue to work with law enforcement and community members to monitor local threats.